Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have the founder of the Swing Bays, Dustin Miller. Dustin, how are you today?
Great to be with you today. Appreciate you having me on.
Dustin, thanks so much for being on the show. All right, well, tell us all about what is the Swing Bays.
Yeah, so the Swing Bays, we are, I always tell people we are an indoor golf shop, an indoor golf clubhouse with simulators. We have 6 Trackman simulator bays. We have full-time instruction, full fitness, full club repair. We've got a full bar. We have retail. We have special orderings. We have leagues. So we have all these components where we have, everything under one roof where we try to call it your new golf home. It's something we're very proud of. And, we're an indoor golf instruction fitness, model, but it's built on hospitality and built on relationships. And those relationships then create transactions. So it's a great thing. And we're very proud of it.
Nice. Well, you are a brand new franchise brand, so I'm glad to have you on the show here. And I'd love to get a little more background, though. Tell me about your history. What were you doing before this?
Yeah, so I grew up in a golfing family, in the golf business, and I was a head golf professional for 9 years, an assistant professional before then. And then right out of college, I tried to play professionally for a while. And then taking the route where I love helping people and helping people do something that you love. I mean, how else can you go wrong there? So, got into the golf business, and started teaching a bunch and creating great experiences, playing with our members, all of those things. And then, the last 10 years, I've been just having my own, golf school, golf academy. And, and it's been fantastic. And I've got other instructors that I have under my umbrella as well. And then 3.5 years ago, I saw this void and wanted to open an indoor place that wasn't just simulators. It wasn't just a place that you come in and it feels like that bowling alley feel. I wanted it to be a place that has a great club feel. Anybody's welcome. We want all aspects to be in here, but wanted it to be everything under one roof. And, for us, we have right now at our location here in Denver, we have about 160 members at this location. And, it's a place that's their second home and we love it. So we wanted it to be a place where they can have great retail from here, great club fittings, great instruction, great fitness, and a place that just keeps people engaged. And I always tell all of our staff is what our goal is to have people excited that they can't wait to get here, and then they're disappointed when they leave. So that's our goal all the times.
Now, there are other golf centers out there. So let's get this right out in the open here. What do you think truly makes you guys different from the other brands?
Yes, no, it's, I hear that question all the time, almost each and every day. And that's where we look at is, all of these things. And people always say, well, we're different, but we differentiate with a purpose. The way that we do that is in our training and the way that we do things with our members and our clients and our guests that come in each and every day. They're not just a number to us. They're not a transaction, but they're a relationship. And off of those relationships, we do things different in our training, the way that we treat our members, the way that we keep them engaged with our teaching, with our fitness, club repair, club fittings, all of those aspects. And again, we have great retail in our store here and in all of our stores that are going to be opening, around the United States as well. So those are big aspects of it, is again, of ways that we train people, we train our staff, and our staff makes this place it makes it hum. So it's kind of like when you look at Chick-fil-A, I hope in 10 years people talk about our brand like they do Chick-fil-A, their training. So a lot of people trying to get into the chicken space right now,
Mhm.
but there's still a line at one of those places, and it's Chick-fil-A, and it's because they differentiate with a purpose, and that's what we're doing, Swing Base.
And do you think your avatar is somebody who really is an avid golfer, or they could be a beginner, but somebody who truly wants to get better at the game versus just going there for kind of entertainment purposes and just kind of having fun for a night?
I think we hit all those aspects. When we look at swing bays, when we kind of took our bat to home plate and said, you know what, we're ready to swing at this, the indoor scene.
Mhm.
We didn't just take one bat where it was like we want to be this, but we took, 6 or 7 bats to the plate, and we feel like we're hitting all of those out of the park. Not in an arrogant or pompous way, but confidently in what we are trying to be. So we have guys and ladies that come in the morning that practice, that are a little more dedicated maybe than others, and practice and really are involved in that aspect. And they go through a fitness class as well. And then we have leagues. We have 50 team leagues in here, per month and things like that. And then we have couples nights. We have different types of corporate events. So mornings, feel a little different. Afternoon feels a little different, and then the evenings feel a little different. The evenings turn into more of a, not party scene, but it also has that social aspect to it. So we want it to be, again, we want it to have hit all of those aspects that a great player can come in here and play, or just a beginner can come in here and hang out and have a great time.
That's awesome. Tell me, what was life like when you first opened the swing base?
Yeah, I mean, it was, we had a great plan moving forward, and it's like I always tell all the juniors that I teach is that anytime that you go out and you're preparing for like a tournament or event, you're sitting there and you're like, man, the third hole, I think I'm going to double bogey the third hole. But the fourth hole, I'm going to par. You never think that. You think everything's going to be perfect. And so for us, we had everything mapped out in a good way. But there's been some challenges and all of those types of things as well. But um, what we wanted to do is, again, we wanted to create members and clients and guests to come in here and to feel different. When they walk through the door, we want it to, it sounds different, it smells different. The interactions with our staff is going to feel different. So when you walk in here, we want you to be like, wow, this is, why is this different? Well, you can feel it. You can have all of those things. So that's our biggest thing is we're rooted, in service, in relationships, and those types of things. But when we first opened, we started out with about 80 members already. We pre-sold those at the beginning, people that
Wow.
were excited. And off of those, yeah, so off of those 80 members, we just kept building and building and building. And in the 3.5 years, almost 4 years that we've been open, we've only lost 19 members since we opened day one. So some of those they've moved or moved on, but it was, that's a pretty good little rate that we've got going on right there.
That's incredible. Dustin, I love talking to founders about the hard times too, and the transparency that we all have. I
Yeah.
mean, entrepreneurship is not easy, as we all know. Would you be willing to share maybe a challenge you had early on that you guys had to overcome?
Yeah, no, I think it's, I look at it all the time is for me, it's, people have to see again why, they have options. They have many options. Like I have, for me teaching, for instance, I have guys that fly up from Texas. I'm in Denver, Colorado. Like I have guys that'll fly in to come take a lesson, and it's like, you could drive 15 minutes and have somebody else. You don't have to fly here 2 hours. But
Sure.
again, it's creating results and creating those things. So for us, when we when we first opened, I've got a 14-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, and then my wife, and they're all in it. Like we all put our life jacket on and said, hey, we're gonna jump in this pool together. So some of the challenges are, just time. It's that you're here and you're in it. For me, I've been blessed because I have an unbelievable staff. I would put my staff up with anybody. Our staff is incredible and they get it and they bought in. But I would say the toughest part is just the beginning stages of the things that you think are right and the things that you think that are like, man, this is a home run.
Right.
Sometimes you have to think in a way that it's like it's not. it's not my business, but how am I going to look at it as a consumer? Like what makes me want to come over there? And that's the other thing, like my staff, any events or any things that we plan out, I make certain that we all talk through those in a way that why would we want to do this?
Yes.
What are those things? And I have people in our group in my circle I keep very small, but my circle of people that when we go through our groups and like our say in our events, like when we want to do something, I have people in here that I utilize and that aren't golfers, that don't do fitness and those things because I want to get their opinion and be like, well, what would make you want to come over here and hang out,
Hmm.
and spend money with us? So you got to think outside the box. You can't. Everything's not just this perfect flowing water that's moving all the time. That's a lot of times you're looking upstream. So
Yeah, well, Dustin, one of the things you do, I think that's brilliant. I don't hear enough founders do it, is that, as you said, you're able to look at things from the consumer view and as opposed to just looking at it from your lens. Because if you really love your business, you're going to give it what it needs. Often that means it needs something more than
yeah.
just you. And also, let's face it, if we just, are talking with our staff only and we see things from our perspective, we're breathing in our own fumes, so to speak, and we're never going to get better. But I think
Mhm.
it's founders that really, really love their business that they can get out of their own way and see if I was going to come into this swing base, how would I want to be treated? What does it feel like? What do I want that experience to be like? And you can see when you can see the warts of your business, so to speak, that's when you can make a really big difference in your business.
It's huge. From our standpoint, as you alluded to earlier, there's a lot of people that's in this space, and I welcome that. I welcome that with confidence. You never wish ill will on any business because I know how hard it is and all of those things. But
Sure.
I feel that the swing base is going to be here to stand the test of time because we have other resources rather than just come in and hit balls. And there's all kinds of other avenues where we make revenue and those things. Um, but for me, I want my staff every 2, 3 weeks going to a quote unquote competitor's location and hanging out there for an hour, going there and feeling, hey, these guys are doing something amazing, but
Hmm.
this is something that we'd never do. And we talk about that a lot. We have open communication to where, again, how can we always create better service than what we're creating now? Because again, that's goes back to that raving fans book. That's what you want, and that's what we're creating.
Sure. Well, you sold what, 80 memberships before you even opened, right?
Yeah, yeah, we
Uh,
were pre-sold at I think 84 memberships before day one.
okay. Was there a pivotal moment besides that? I mean, you're open, you're doing business though for a while. Was there a pivotal moment when you said, I think we're really onto something big here?
Yeah. So for me, and again, and this is a thing where I look at it from my standpoint of where I'm at. In you don't have to be me. I'm not saying that again in a pompous way. You don't have to be me to open swing base. We have a great track record of what a plan and all of those things. But for me, it was like I had this great, kind of book of business already, and was like, hey, we're getting ready to open this place, and people were excited about it. But I would say when it wasn't just like my friends and acquaintances that were like getting memberships,
Hmm.
when I'd come in here, for a day and walk through this place and not know anybody, I was like, this is it. This is 100% it. But, and seeing people wear our gear, we're very, our members are brand loyal. They love the logo. They feel proud to be a part of being here. So it's cool going in like into Whole Foods or something like that and seeing somebody wear a swing base hat or shirt, and it's like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like it. It's just it makes it real. It's your baby has actually become something when you see it out there in the community, right?
Right.
um,
Yeah.
Dustin, obviously you being in the golf business, there's nobody else who I can imagine that would know more about the importance of obviously coaching and having somebody that inspires you or mentors you. Who is it? Who's it been in your life that has, whether it's inspired you or somebody who believed in you to go forward in starting this business?
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've had a lot of great people around me in my life. Um, people that have taken a chance on me were, at the beginning, and that's just like anything else. It's like that's what, we're looking at right now in our business is like, hey, every great franchise has to start with one.
Right.
And, for me it was like one of my first boss in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, at the time, just took a chance on me, out of college. And I could play, but didn't mean that I could teach, didn't mean that I could interact and all of those things. Um, and so I've got to give great praise to that individual, just in a way of communicating with others, as well, and how to communicate, because in any hospitality business, you need to be able to communicate. Um, and teaching, that's the way that I'm, helping everybody that's kind of on my tree in the branches that's kind of forming out of under me. But when we get a new person that comes in and takes a lesson, like I want to know everything about them. Like, what's your music you like to listen to? Is it, what is it? Is it, you know, I always go back to this, but it's like Van Morrison. We'll throw some Van Morrison on and have them feel comfortable. And then how's your learning style? Are you more of a kinesthetic feel? Or are you more of a
Uh-huh.
visual? So all of a sudden you're putting that individual in this place where it's like calming sense, and so the communication part of it is huge. And that's, I look back to the people that I've been around growing up and teaching me, hey, communication is key. And then how to treat them is the other. And then if they're seeing results and seeing reasons to stay with you, then they're gonna be somebody that's there. And that's what we're creating here each and every day, just in a
Abs-
in a different way.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Dustin, let's get into franchising. So it wasn't part of your initial dream, from what I understand, right? You launched your company in 2021. Um, Tell us, where does franchising come into this?
Yeah, so I was, my wife works in the corporate world. And for me, it was just like, man, we have this void kind of in this community where we're at, of having a location like ours. And so, we went out on this path and wanted to just do it on our own, and had the great group around us, and people that believed in us. And what we did is our goal was to always open about 5 to 10 locations here in the greater Denver area. Um, and that's what we were going to do. Even opening one successful business is a success. But we just like, this is what we're going to be at. And we got we got paired up with Dan Rowe and Franz Mart from a mutual friend. And I kind of waited on it for a little bit and was like, man, I just don't know if we want to do this. But then we started seeing how our story was told here in a local level of where we're at. How many people that we've became members, and people that've come through our doors, and was like, man, this place is awesome. And so you're like, okay, how do we now have that story told in Charlotte and Nashville and Atlanta, and throughout the United States. And um, so we signed up with Franz Mart. We sold 5 stores in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. We've got
Congrats.
one that's getting ready to open up. Thank you so much. We've got one that'll get ready to open up here Q4 this year, and probably another one there in Q1, Q2 next year. We're going to open more corporate stores here in Denver. And we've got, you know, I can't list right now because they're not completely done, but we've got a ton in the works, a lot in the works as well. So we've got a great buzz, and people are believing in it and believing in the brand. And I tell people all the time that I'm not going to lead people as a franchisor now. I would never put somebody in that position to fail. And that's,
Yeah.
again, that's not something that's going to be that I'm going to just let happen. And I wouldn't want people to do this if we didn't have a proven plan and a proven, method of what we're going to create for franchisees. And that's the thing that I want to be. And the huge responsibility that I take as being a franchisor is that I want to walk shoulder by shoulder with each one of these people that are believing in the brand and believing in me. And we're going to be there with them step by step. And we're going to create an unbelievable company. I truly believe that. And it's going to be something it's going to be large, and it's going to be something that people will be proud of.
Well, you should be proud of this. And, Dustin, you have a very special concept, and this deserved to be franchised. And it would have been a crime for you not to be able to expand this out and allow other people to be able to experience this. This is not easy, though, as a founder, because once we franchise, and look, you've got
Yeah,
great partners right with FranSmart, but when we franchise our business, things change. I mean, it is, I don't want to say it's much
sure.
easier to have only company owned locations, but let's face it, when you only have corporate owned locations, you control everything. Everything is done exactly your way. And when we franchise, yes, it's supposed to be done your way or to the brand standards, but there is interpretation. There's gray area. There's franchisees wanting to test things out and stuff. And there's a give and take. I take nothing away from franchising. I
Sure.
would never bite the hand that fed me for 20 plus years, but there is something to be said about having to share your baby now. And I think that's really what you're doing. And so tell me about your
Right.
your thought on how are you able to now go from this company owned location to now be willing to support franchisees and help support their dream.
Yeah, the transition it's actually been pretty easy. It's a lot easier than I was anticipating at first. It's just, I think a lot of it is because we have everything everything that we've planned and things that are intact already.
Mhm.
I've gone with all of my staff and we've talked about, hey, we have this opportunity to create something amazing, and we're very confident and humble at the same time with what we've created here in Denver. Um, and with that being said, it's like I can't wait for other people, like even like you said, I can't wait for them to feel what they feel when they're here. So for us, going out and being someone that's going to help that franchisee is exciting. It's awesome because what I want them to do is I want them to see, like, again, the programs that we've created. I want them to see the feels, and that's the thing that we do is we have them come here for a week, come through training, just feel it. And that's our main thing, and how we're going to create that culture, not only here but in all these other locations. Because our goal is that when someone travels and they're a member at a swing base, I want I want them to be able to have some piece of home in every large metropolitan area. If somebody's from Denver and they've got to go to Dallas for a business trip for 3 days. I hope that they're looking to stay somewhere near swing bays because it's going to feel like home for them. It's going to feel the same way that wherever their home location's at. And we're excited to create that feel nationwide, just like we have here. And we've got a great plan in place and we've got the staff to be able to do it.
Well, just wait until you walk into your first franchise location outside of Colorado. When you go to North Carolina, it is a surreal feeling, my friend. It is incredible to walk in to see your
Yeah,
brand somewhere that you had to hop on a plane to. I make no small bones about it. It
right.
is something special.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking
Uh,
forward to that. It's gonna be a special day.
well, besides you going into Raleigh now, right? What are some of the other markets that you're
Mhm.
excited about?
Yeah, we have yeah, right now we have a bunch of Colorado that looks like it's gonna possibly happen here really soon. So we're excited about that as well. Being kind of here in our backyard and having those. But the thing is with Swing Base brand, people look at it and we're like, it's an indoor place, can warm climates, can they handle this type of business? And the answer to me is yes.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. So we use, and again, you have to make it engaging and make it worth people's time. That's first and foremost. But Trackman, we use Trackman simulators, right now, and we've utilized them and we use them for everything that we do. Trackman in 2024 had a stat that there was 4 billion golf balls tracked last year off of TrackMan units, and 90% of those shots that were tracked was indoors. So we look at it in a way that's like, you know, it's 72 to, Denver's great in the summer and all those things, and it's, the weather's still pretty good most of the time, but
Mhm.
we have people that are come in here that still are engaged because they know what the data is going to give them. And it's like, I can go and hit balls and swing bays 72 degrees. It's perfect. The conditions are great. I can also get a drink or hang out with some buddies, watch the Masters or anything, the Final Four or stuff like that as well. Um, so for us, it's like we have a brand and we have programs and things like that's proven that keep people engaged even during great weather. It doesn't just have to be in climate. So that's the thing that we're excited about going in all these other markets, is that we're going to be there for a void that is there right now in the golf business.
Sure. Well, this works just as well in a warm climate like where I am here in Tampa. It is just too
Oh,
hot to be outside, though I'll be playing actually next week, but
yeah, you don't want to be outside.
yeah, I don't want to be outside. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
um, I know we're early still in this process here, Dustin, but what's the type of
Mhm.
person that you see being really successful with your brand as a franchisee? What do you think are some of their attributes that they need to have to really win at this?
Yeah. So, I look at it in a couple ways. I look at first and foremost um, people that are right out of the bat are people person, that I want to help somebody. I want to create a great team. I want to create a great atmosphere. Secondly, if that person is more of an introvert and is not an extrovert, we have things in place for you. We have things in place to how we're going to help you hire a great staff and help you do that and help you delegate. So you don't have to be a PGA professional like myself or anything like that, but you do need to have, I want somebody with great business acumen, and I want that first and foremost. Secondly, you've got to know how to treat people, create those relationships, and then follow our training, and our training is there for those aspects of helping to create this great environment and this great just feel of community, and that's what we want. But I'm also open as well. Like if a franchisee it comes in and is like, Dustin, what about this? What about that? I've got two great ears where I want to listen and I want to hear, because I don't always feel like I know I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I want to be open to hearing those ideas and those things. So, but we have great plans intact, and we've got great programs ready for that. But somebody that has great business acumen, but is also, somebody that wants to have that, you know, relationship with people, that's going to be huge and in that aspect. So it doesn't just have to be somebody in golf. We can train you in those types of things, but somebody that wants to take care of people and create a great environment. That's what I'm looking for.
Very smart, Dustin. Business acumen absolutely comes first before the love of golf.
Yeah.
I just speak from experience of being in the sports business. On my side, it was kids sports, and I initially took on people as franchisees that loved kids, loved sports, but they didn't have the business acumen and they struggled. That's just no other way about it.
Yeah,
And the people
sure.
who came in, believe it or not, that had strong business acumen, but did not have knowledge of sports, killed it. And that was a huge eye opener for me. It
Yep.
changed my brand forever because I started to figure out who I really needed. And I realized that it doesn't matter whether you're in golf or health and fitness or beauty or food. It comes down to management, marketing, finance, accounting, or I said
Yeah, you
finance,
have to.
technology, operations. Those are the things that we're talking about every day. Those are the things that are most important.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't need somebody fixing somebody's slice or the club face. I can find people to do that.
Right, because then they're working on the wrong thing, and if they're going to focus on that, they're missing the big picture on how to actually grow the business. Well, Dustin,
Correct.
what's the investment range to open a location?
Yeah, so we have, in our item 19, and we have a kind of a broad range on there. I can say for what I open my location here, I'm about 5,800 square feet at my location. I've got 6 Trackman bays, a bar, a putting chipping green, and I was in the to the low to mid 300s to open my location. We have a
Okay.
broad range just in case somebody wants to maybe have a larger bar or put more bays, things like that. But um, you know, the startup cost on a swing bays is not huge at all by any means. We don't do food, so we don't have a restaurant or anything like that. So no kitchen. So that's a huge deal for us, is that I don't want that overhead of food. We're in locations that we can cater in for parties and events or corporate events or anything like that. So we were, like I said, I was in the mid 300s for my location here, and that's what we're looking, you know, that would pretty much match what I'm at for this one.
Okay, fair enough. What's one thing you've learned during this franchising process that maybe has surprised you?
Um, Gosh, that's a great question. I get asked a lot of these things kind of in the same way. Um, I, again, I don't say this to try to sound pompous, but I felt like I've gone through, and I think that was my patience of going into the franchise world. I wanted to know everything about it before I got in it. Um, but I think probably the biggest thing is just time, understanding how to manage your time. Right now I feel like I'm wearing, 12 different hats all the time, and you're getting pulled kind of 8 different ways. And you just got to figure out which hat to put on, and you got to figure out which pull that you want to, answer to. And for me, I want to always be available. That's a big thing. I always love to say yes. But the biggest thing probably is understanding how to say no more often. And I know that sounds terrible, but sometimes you gotta
It's
you gotta
true.
pick and choose, and that's huge. Yeah. So time for me is time for me is tough. It's like I wish there's 42 hours in the day rather than 24. But the big thing is just plotting out what is the most important steps and the most important parts, and working on those, and then kind of working down my list through the day. And again,
Yeah.
having a great team around me is amazing, and having a great support system with FranSmart. And then my wife is she does everything that people don't see, and that's you have to have somebody, that support system with you too, and that's huge.
Absolutely. Yes. Coming home, be able to share what went well, what didn't go well, and getting that emotional support and feedback is key. I always said my wife always helped me with that. And that was one of the things that was sort of the magic too, and the magic in our relationship for now over 30 years. It's that she sees things differently than me. And sometimes coming home from a
Right.
long, hard day of franchising, um, because she wasn't in the office, she saw from a different perspective, and there was more times than
Yeah,
not that her perspective ultimately was right.
absolutely.
Where do you see the brand growing, Dustin? Next 5, 10 years, how big is big? Where do you think this is going to be?
Yeah, I get asked it a lot, like when is enough? What's enough? And I don't know what enough is yet. Like right now, I'm driven in a way. I'm driven with a purpose. I'll put it that way. And
Sure.
my purpose is I want Swing Bays to be something, again, not just to say, hey, we're different, but why are we different? Again, like what we said before, I want to be different in ways of how our service is, how our instruction is, our fitness, our culture. I want culture for our staff across the board, to be amazing. I want people to want to work here. I want people to want to be involved in it, and down the road have a, Swing Bays Foundation, and doing bigger and broader things just than business. But I see in the next 5, 10 years, realistically, 50 stores, that could be ready to rock. I'd love to get to 100. I mean, 100 is a great mark. But from territory wise for us, for me, I should say, I'm not looking to have, I don't want to have 100 franchisees. I want to have the right franchisees. I'm not looking to just sell off one store, one location. We're looking to, sell off territories. Because we want to have the right people in place. It's not something that's just a hobby for people. We want people to be, we want people to want it. I want people to buy in, right? And be like, wow, this is a can't miss situation where I don't want to not be a part of it. Um, so that to me, I don't care if it takes a little bit longer to get to those numbers. It's not a grab for me of like getting there. It's more of, again, creating the right culture in the right way, and having the right people that I want to, have my shoulders up against walking down this path with. So, if we can get to 100, within the next, 8 years, that would be really well. But either way, I feel that what we've done so far is a huge success, and it's been amazing. But I think it's going to be something that's going to be bigger and broader than probably I envisioned.
Well, with that said, if someone was interested in learning more about opening up a swing bays, where would they go?
Yeah, so Fransmart, they have all the information on there, or else they can go onto our website at theswingbays.com. We have a tab under there for franchising as well, and they can get linked up. But that's we welcome that. Welcome, looking forward to talking to anybody that's interested and telling my story and our story and how y'all can be a part of it. So it's exciting times, and right now it's from a ground level, but we're looking to move forward pretty quickly, and we're ready to do so.
All right. Well, I got one last question for you. I know you're really at the starting line here of franchising. I'm excited for your future. If your future franchisees can hear one message from you today, what would you want them to know about who they're partnering up with?
Yeah, there's somebody that's partnering up with somebody that's committed, somebody that's absolutely driven in this business on where we're at. Somebody that wants to be there right with you from the start, not just from the start, but and also and then the middle part of the race, and then you know finishing it. So I'm not somebody that's just looking to get again a quick grab and to never hear from me again. I'm looking forward to those things of traveling to your locations and having our team travel to your locations, and having weekly calls and types of things like that. But it's somebody that's in it right now, and that's the other part. It's like um I love creating this, and somebody that has thought through this, and somebody that's completely genuine of, I can't wait to be a part of it with you. And, and those are the things like I want my story and the swing based story to be told on a national level in a way that's, it's exciting. And for me, it's like, when you see something that's big and exciting, you're rushing to it. And that's the thing that we're finding right now is we have a lot of people rushing to us. And now it's just picking the right ones. And that's what we want, and that's what we want to have. And I'm in it with you. And that's the key, is that you'll have my full support and our team's full support and all of those types of programs. And we're just looking forward to creating an unbelievable story in your community, and something big and broad. And that's the exciting thing of what Swing Bays is, and where we started, where we are now, and then where we're headed.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, Dustin, congratulations. I'm excited for the launch of your franchise officially, and welcome to franchising, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a true pleasure to meet you today, and thanks for letting me tell our story and where we're going.
My pleasure. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.